So last night I had a dream. It was a pretty cool dream. I want to share it. So it starts off in a house with a lot of people. Now, I mean like a lot of people. But there are 6 people I think that we need to be most interested. The grandpa character, the mom character, the eldest son, the eldest daughter, the middle daughter, and the youngest son. These 6 characters are all in the same family. There are more. The grandpa and the mom have spouses. The eldest 2 siblings have younger siblings, and more than just the middle and youngest siblings. There are more additional siblings, as well as cousins and uncles and aunts, and it's a large extended family, all living in one house or compound. The whole family lives together, and they are basically a tech-savvy religion. They are... Their belief in science goes so deep that it becomes a religious belief. The One day, they are gifted a seed. This seed goes into their garden along with all their other seeds. Whoever gifted it to them was anonymous, but they figured it was their friend from some collegiate experience further on down the road. And they plant it because they expect that person always sends them seeds, or yearly sends them seeds. And he always gives them fancy, intelligent, capable seeds. They're seeds that are so far excluded from the realm of normal that they love to plant them and see what comes up. Because when he is a scientist who genetically modifies, so he hasn't just melded several plants together. He has inserted genetic material and grown an extreme biome. Now, he lives far off in a distant land so that his plants, that's best suited for his scientific expertise. But the family here live on what we'll call a floral wonderland. It's an island in the Pacific that gives them a large array of temperature. It stays basically the same temperature year-round, and high humidity and high heat levels and stress levels, so that their experiments are in a controlled environment. This family has lived there for a very long time, but the island is relatively remote, so it wouldn't work well for other scientists. Just their specific needs. Now, we're focused on these particular 6, but there are more. So this seed they plant in their garden and expect something wonderful to grow. But weirdly, all that comes up is a strangely transparent plant. You can see through it, but it's got red tips on the outermost edges of these little buds coming up out of the ground. So let's just call that soil. So you can see through it mostly. And it's got these weird flagellum that sort of stick up, right, and wiggle around. But it doesn't appear to be growing. It gets about to the height of a few inches. It starts from the ground and goes up to a small amount, and then stops growing. And it doesn't appear to grow anymore, no matter how much they feed it or water it. Now, they're not sure if that's how tall the plant actually is, or if it's dead, or if it's not going to grow anymore. So the eldest son, who is their gardening and botanical expert, clips it off and tries to replant. So he was going to reset the plant, give it a new growth pattern. So he cut it off, and he has this now strange looking rubberized flagella thing. It's got a small stalk, it's hollow on the inside, and it's got weird balloon type ends. But before he can replant it, another one grows in its place. Just pops right back up to the exact same height and shape. And he has no idea how it got there, what happened, and how it grew so quickly, when before it wasn't growing at all. He inspects it a bit and finds, weirdly, that it's identically shaped to his hands. Both of them fit perfectly over his hands. They are transparent material with a red sheen. They have a red hue, but you can see through them. So on his lightly colored skin, it appears to go away. You can't tell. He couldn't tell that he was wearing them. They are thin and elastic. They spring back when he pulls on them. He couldn't tell that they were there. They meshed with his skin so perfectly. They were so thin and completely transparent, matching his skin color, that it disappeared completely. But strangely, he didn't know the plant didn't regrow a second time when he pulled it again. The second pull only gave him 2 gloves. No other plant. No, it didn't grow again. So what was happening? He now had the butt end of a stalk. So he dug down a little bit and found that the plant had grown some serious roots. In fact, it wasn't even roots anymore. It was more of this same flagellous material. The rubbery stalk kept going down underground. So he dug more. And it was long and stretchy, and it went for a ways. He called the family to help, and he ended up having to dig up the whole garden because it was a pretty enormous floppy suit. Under the ground, it had this red sheen, elastic quality, Now he had a whole suit. He pulled the whole thing out. And he had now 2 gloves, a bodysuit with 2 holes for his legs, and a hole for his head. It even wrapped around his ears and hair. The only thing it didn't cover was his eyes and his nose and his mouth. He had gloves, but there were no foot coverings. So they all called up their uncle, their distant friend, who lived in another land and who had given them the seed. And he says, yes, did you plant it? And they say, yes, we planted it. And he says, great, did you get the suit? And they say, yes, we got the suit. And he says, oh, great, you'll have more soon as, how many other people have touched it? And he says, well, we all helped to dig it up. The whole family came. It's a big suit. We had to tear up the entire garden. And he says, oh, no. Well, you might be digging up the whole island. And they go, what are you talking about? And he says, it is a genetically modified symbiotic parasite. It takes some of your skin cells and arranges its genetic makeup to match perfectly with your genetic makeup. So this suit is your perfect exoskeleton suit. Put it on, and it lives by being attached to you. You give it energy, and it gives you protection. It will wrap around your entire body. If you get shot, it turns to wood and stops the bullet. If you continuously run, the leg area will turn more elastic and help you run faster. If you are particularly in need of strength, it will support your body and enlargen your muscular base to make you stronger. It uses your genetics and a viable, living, bioorganic plant organism to combine your information into what you can use. So, strong hits create solid material. Lots of movement creates increased fluidity, and lots of resistance increases a resistant builder, a muscle, a strong exoskeleton for you to survive. They are battle suits. They are strong, valuable, independent, but parasitic living organisms that you energize through your skin. You give it energy, and it gives you all these added benefits because it is a part of you. It's built from your genetic material. It takes your cells and incorporates them into its own genetics. So whoever touches it gets a suit. Now, once you separate it from the ground, once you remove it from the pre-material, the initial plant, it will no longer continually grow. It just self-repairs. So you, by cutting it off from the plant, those gloves, you get just that. No more additional materials. It won't... once you cut the gloves off of the suit, those gloves are permanently set in their position. Now, if you ripped them in half, they would grow back together. But you cannot rip them in half and expect it to get longer. They are only set to what they are when they're cut from the plant. So a bunch of people touching this current thing won't grow more. They have to touch the home plant, the base plant. Now, each one of these people touched the plant and get their own bodysuit. You now have the 6 initial starter people who are learning to use the bodysuit, and all the other people at home who, during the getting those 6 bodysuits, have then touched the plant and will later get their own bodysuits. Now, their friend and their scientific friend has told them that he's using them as his control, because they are all the genetic material is specifically built for their family. This parasite has been designed with their genetics in mind. They have a wide range of ages to see how the different suits work for them, as well as them being a wide selection of the Earth's population. Their family in general, the older siblings and the younger siblings, as well as the cousins, are from all different regions of the world. The mother and father characters have gotten their spouses from different areas of the world, so they're a genetically independent but varied group. So while the grandpa character is the base upon which the suit is designed, because every person except for the spouses of his children are his genetic dependents. They are all dependent on his genetics. So he is the base for which the starting point is. But his 4 children are all on his base. Their spouses have different genetic backgrounds and give you mixed outcomes. Which makes for a varied selection on their genetic material. Which means that they can see, even though it's got to be designed with a person in mind, that genetic material that the suit can use has a varied range to see what it does to different types of people. This particular family is the perfect selection group for the suits. That's where I'm going to end it for now. I don't know it seems as though the family's going to get into a bit of trouble at some point because of some of the experiment that they weren't supposed to have, and they end up needing the suits for nefarious purposes. But that's a different story. We're just talking about how they get the suits right now. So, thanks for listening. Have a good day.